Welcome to Think and Question, where we dive deep into ideas, writing, and critical thinking. In today's video, I will be evaluating a CSS English essay. I have gone through it line by line, correcting grammatical mistakes, highlighted weak arguments, and offered practical ways to improve. This is the second video of CSS essay evaluation series. So let's start with the topic, and the topic is best for an individual is not necessarily best for a society. The essay is starting with the thesis statement and then followed by outlines. Let's look into it. Introduction. Complex interplay of individual and societal interests constitute a society. However, this interplay sometimes favors individual and sometimes society. Therefore, a balance should be drawn for the healthy functioning of the environment. So, if we analyze the thesis statement is comprehensively covering the whole discussion of the essay, which is the main purpose of thesis statement. But there is minor issue over here that sometimes does not require any hyphen. So consider writing sometimes like this, not like this. The next point is logical link between individual and society. The third one is importance of individual and societal interest. Fourth one, individual interest overriding the societal interest. So this is the first main heading, this one. So this is the third main heading is addressing the statement of the essay. These two things, these two paragraphs of the essay are just connecting the discussion with the main topic. So it is very good to start with a basic theme and then slowly and gradually approaching towards the main topic, because it maintains the a logical link between the paragraph as well as your discussion. The first point is authoritative regimes undermining societal interests. Economic concentration in few hands overrides societal interest. Deviant behavior of individual hampers societal interest. So the articulation of phrases over here, as I have mentioned over here, that it is not in the same fashion. For example, if you are writing the first point in the form of phrase, because this is a phrase, but these two B and C, these two are the sentences. So outline should be, you can say the subheadings of the outline should be in either phrases or sentences. So it should not be the mix of phrases and sentences. It is good for, you can say, presentation of your outline. And the next thing, you can say the order should be C, B, A rather than A, B, C, because C is the individual level analysis of the the main argument, and this one is economic dimension, and this one is the political dimension. So I think we should start with the basic, means that from individual analysis to the political analysis. The next one, should societal interest always outweigh, it should be outweighed individuality. So it is better to rephrase this heading because it is not clearly stating what does it mean. So your explanation when you are writing an academic essay, so the explanation and your writing should be very much direct. This is a counter argument, but it should be rephrased in a such a way that it should seems like direct. Societal interest may be a maybe the disguise. This is not the way to write, maybe a disguise like this. Societal interest affecting the essence of individuality. Then times when they are in synchronization. So restriction for individual, but for both environmental issues and individual role. And again, time when they are at loggerhead with each other. So gun violence in the USA is a manifestation, I think so, the manifestation. So always at this point, give a generalized statement in the headings and then cite the case in point. So no need to write the case in point as a heading. So it is not recommended. It is better to write a generalized statement, and after that you can put the example as a case in point. Short-term personal gains, again, how to draw the balance between the two. Effective social contract, role of value inculcation, efficient rights and responsibility mechanism amongst the state, breeding society on democratic line. So you are giving way forward for the states as well. But in the previous essay, we haven't seen any discussion about the states. So the essay should be from start to end. It should be going in a coherent way so that there should be no communication. The next thing, breeding society on democratic lines. So if you are giving the state level analysis of the, if you are expanding this statement towards the states, so it should be at the end of, at the end, because this over here, and the point D, breeding society on democratic line, it should be, so you can shuffle C and D. So overall, the outline is effectively covering the main aspects of the topic. The outline is framed in a very good way because the main purpose of the outline is to cover the whole topic. So if the outline is covering the whole topic, it means that it is touching the every dimension, every possible dimension of the topic. So it means that outlines are framed in a good way. Language, so there was some issue with the language. So if you are framing a good outline, so you should be very much careful about the usage of your language. Logical connection, so there was some logical, you can say, issues with the connecting paragraphs, because this is the main, you can say, most of the student make this mistake. When there is no logical connection between the arguments, then you are when you are explaining these things in the body paragraphs, it makes the essay more, you can say, your explanation more go in a bit informal way. So it is recommended to make your arguments in more coherent way. The next thing, now we will be starting with the introduction. The gratification of the interest is the primary goal of every human being. This is a universal truth, but the gratification of desires, it will be, you can say, try to incorporate desire rather than interest, because it seems more idiomatic than interest in the written English. Individuals during their whole lifespan strive to achieve their interest, whether they are religious, economic, or political. So, lifespan should not be written like this, rather, it should be written like this. The next point, the struggle to achieve the ends translate into a society. This is a bit unclear, or you can say ambiguous statement. So you can consider writing shapes societal fabric. The struggle to achieve these ends shapes societal fabric. So this is not conveying the intended meaning. So it means that your communication is not clear. So the written communication in the essay should be very much clear. But what you are trying to portray, it should be very much clear. In turn, societies tries to regulate the individual behavior by defining a specific code of conduct. However, this code of conduct is breached when individual interest override the societal interest. Good. The manifestation of the very attitude of individual or authoritative regimes, monopoly of a few to control the economic means of society and behavior of some individual, which does not conform with the widely established norm of the society. So when you are writing, even when you are making your sentence more complex, try to, because it is highly recommended that never make your sentence more complex, because when you are uh, connecting 3 to 4 ideas in a one sentence, there is a more chance, it is highly likely that you will be making a mistake. So it is better to separate these ideas in one or more than two sentences. And one more thing, this is a very common mistake. If you, over here, if you should be used, but the only few was used. So if you small positive number means that indicating that the presence of something is notable. So over here, we were what the idea was that there are some authoritative regimes, or there are some economic monopolies that exist over there. So if you should be used, but if we are using few, it means that it is a small number, but it is in negative sense, not in positive sense. So it is suggesting insufficiency, scarcity, as the something shortage of something. But and again, over here you can choose non-conformist behavior of some individuals. This will be the you can say good way to explain this thing. But this does not mean that individuality has no importance against the wider social interest. So, using against the wider social interest is not a more common phrase, and in place of using it, you can try to rephrase it by writing in context of wider social interest. This idea stems from the fact that societal interest may be a disguised, maybe the disguised, it is not a way to write this thing, maybe a disguise, or countering the very essence of individuality. To analyze this complex interplay of the interest, so again, once again, from here to here, the sentence is more complex, and two to three ideas are mixed in one or two sentences. So this is the main reason when the students are making mistakes despite the good ideas and despite using good expressions. So always avoid to intermix three to four ideas in just one sentence. To analyze this complex interplay of the interest, it is important to delve into the instances when societal interest and individual interest are at loggerhead with each other and when they are in synchronization. For example, restriction for individual to prevent the pollution goes to prevent the pollution. No need to use the definite article. The over here goes in the interest of the both. Again, so against goes against this both is already a determiner, so no need to use the before the both. So both parties, you can write parties over here. It is goes in the interest of both parties rather than putting the before the both. The next line, conversely, selfish attitude of an individual for the pursuit of short-term gains places the individual at conflict with the societal interest. This is very true. To minimize the conflicting scenario, it is imperative to look for a balanced approach between the individual and societal interest. So to look for a balanced approach, instead of writing this thing, this is not more common idiomatic phrase in English, in written English, academic English. So to strike a balance, it is a more idiomatic phrase. In order to materialize this balance, it is important to cement an efficient social contract along with value inculcation. Similarly, a clear line between rights and responsibilities to base the society on democratic lines can also prove beneficial in drawing the balance between the two. So no need to include this thing because we are already discussing these two things, that we are striking the balance. So you are repeating the things, so no need to include this phrase. Hence complex again thesis statement. Now we will look into the